that helps.
Thank you, I think I really benefit from your talk, and I wish I was here 2 years ago, since I was suffering from all my career, from either from academic. At school, I want to pursue 100 points in my exam. At career, well, I want to have a promotion. I want to have my salary raise. So I always suffering from all those kind of negative stuff. But I think I probably need to exercise, and I really also want to share with all you guys here. I think that's a pretty good talk, but I just wondering how should I start? For example, when my manager talked to me saying that, oh, Mandy, probably your last year, 2012, your performance is not excellent, but it's okay, it's good. But I thought I think I put a lot of efforts in my work, and I think I just feel like unfair sometimes because I didn't get the highest degree among our peers. They are all PhD, but I just a master degree. So I always suffering this kind of probably negative thoughts. But I just wondering how should I transcend the thoughts and get everything positive and go through this negative stuff and just try to be a better person. Yeah.
Thank you. That's actually a very important question that you were asking too. It's just like the lady that was asking beside you, is that I'll provide that list of questions. So throughout the day, pose any of those questions randomly at yourself. The first thing you need to do is to become aware of those patterns. If you're not aware of those patterns, you don't know where to change. You don't know where to even start. So it's to develop, like for us, we develop a meditation, we develop this tools to meditate so that we have this technique to help us become more mindful. You have to develop something to help you become mindful of that in the first place. If not, you are trying to force a change on yourself, and it's kind of like trying to, have you played this game when you were a kid, pin the tail on the donkey? They've got this picture of a donkey, and they blindfold you and they give you a pin and it has a tail, and then you're trying to figure out where to pin the tail, right? And always you get a lot of funny stories out of this because they pin them in the funniest places, right? So that's kind of the case too. If you're not mindful, you don't know where the source is coming from, then it's like trying to pin the tail on a donkey blindfolded. You don't know where you're going, and you will often hit somewhere which is wrong, and then you end up giving up very quickly. So developing mindfulness is extremely important first. So engage in meditation practices, go for retreats and stuff and workshops where it helps you develop more skills in identifying what they are. And it helps you develop the tools to investigate your own mind and ask yourself, what is it that you care about? Right? When someone says something to you and it hurts you, right? You ask yourself this question: what is it about that hurt you? What is it that you care about? Is it how other people look at you? Is that what you care about? And then you start investigating further. Why do you kind of put so much weight on how people look at you? Because one of the things, and I have this experience too, because I have Asian parents too, although I grew up in Canada, but I do have Asian parents. One of these things are that, they give you a lot of pressure to be successful, because that was how they grew up. That was the environment that they grew up under. So they put their hopes and what their whole training process to you too. So, and then growing up in Toronto, it's quite different from Asian society, because I lived in a town that was English. I was like the only Asian in the class. And people have certain expectations. And you know, and parents have expectations, other people have expectations, your peers have expectations, everyone has expectations. But my experience is that if you keep trying to live up to other people's expectations, you will never be happy. Because there's always going to be something else different. You will never be able to please the other person because you never know what that person really wants. You think this is what they want, but that's not really what they want. But in the end, you will hate yourself deeply because you will ask yourself, after you've gone through decades of this, what have you done with your own life? You know, you don't want to wait till you're 80 years old, you know, and ask yourself, what have you done with your life? I have never lived my life the way I wanted to. If you keep waiting for, you know, affirmation from outside, that's why my own experience as I'm practicing Buddhism, and I share with a lot of people, is that I find Buddhism extremely empowering. Because what the Buddha had taught, he didn't say that they are the absolute truths. He says, you now go take these and go experiment with it and prove to yourself that it's true. You don't have to take everything I say as truth, but you go and prove it. Right? So it's empowering in that way because what the Buddha is saying that you don't need affirmation from anyone outside. It comes from within yourself. If you know you've done your best, given the causes and conditions at that time, no matter what other people tell you, you know you've done your best. So the next time you do it, you try to find the extraordinary, you know, and find how you're going to be able to have space for improvement. But not in a negative way. Your intention, your mindset is not negative, but just looking for the next great thing that's going to happen. The next great thing that is going to reveal to yourself. Because if your mindset shifts from the negative part into something that is positive, you know, the whole world opens up to you. When you're negative, you have a script, okay? It's like, you know, okay, we're not far from Los Angeles, or we're not far from Hollywood. They have all these scripts that tells you, as the actor, what you're going to do next, right? So how you're going to doom yourself to failure next. But if you look at it in a positive way, if your mindset is positive, it's about exploration, waiting for the next right answer. There's no one right answer. There are a lot of right answers, and just looking for that, all of a sudden the possibilities open up. A prescripted, you know, script, you will never see any hope. You will only think that is the only way it will work. But if your mind opens up, the open-mindedness, you will explore and you'll find many other right answers. Yeah, so start from those few places and help yourself change your mindset. Identify, you know, what are your suffering. That's why I say from what Mahagosananda is saying, from deep suffering comes deep compassion. It's when you touch that, you feel compassionate towards yourself too and know, I'm not alone in this because everyone goes through it in the same ways. And so you don't need to say it's all my fault, but look for the next great possibility. Look for the next right answer. Okay?
So let me get to the next Paul. Let me make a quick observation, and let's give all the questioners so far a hand because they fork themselves, their personal scenarios, situations out on the table, naked, right? So they can learn. And you know, from what Boss was encouraging, right? Investigate the mind, and that's exactly what you guys are doing. So give those people a hand, please.
Thank you, Venerable Chang. And my question is similar to the first two. But in the beginning of your slide, I saw that you have some quotation like, if you think everything is someone else for you will suffer a lot from Dharma. And I also read one of his quotes, something like that is, he mentioned that religion is not for you to criticize others. It's for you to criticize yourself. And every day you review your hatred and your jealousy and others, and use your body, your mind as experimental laboratory. And every day you do it. So now that's one. So maybe like Asia, you're more humble. From Asian background, you want to be more humble yourself. But you also mentioned another one. You accept yourself. it's improfessional and everybody can accept as it is. So that to me is also a very good way to really put yourself more ease, and also in a sense more kind of psychology, meaning in a sense that you feel good. So it's kind of embedded. I know these two probably top of the same thing, but seems to me is a bit different how to reconcile this. One is, well, you be pretty strong, maybe just let's say you be harsh yourself, you have to improve yourself. But others say, hey, it's okay, you be relaxed, just do what you're doing, and realize people are improfessional. So how you to reconcile these two thinking and approach? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's also a very important question. Actually, what the Dalai Lama had said is that, take your own religion, and it's easy for people to take the values of their religion and go measure everyone. There's always a measuring stick that you take around with you to measure everyone. Well, when you keep doing that, the more dissatisfied you will feel the whole world. And in the end, you'll be so consumed by this dissatisfaction that you feel this whole world is hopeless, right? So, but actually, because you can't change some of the things that happens outside, as some people say before too, and you've heard these wise saying, is that, don't try to change people outside, change yourself, right? So you take these values and you take it as your own measures inside of you to change yourself. But in the process of doing this, is that when you take these, where in the sutras, in the Buddhist sutras, they talk about, all these rightful living, all the Eightfold Noble Paths and so on and so forth of how to do it. If you take this and all of a sudden you start looking at yourself, and then you start becoming aware of who you are and where you have been and where you want to go, sometimes it can also be the same thing where you get overwhelmed and say, you see all the mistakes that you have made, right? So when you see all these imperfections that we have, do you choose to continue to kind of kill yourself over that? Become so self-absorbed in your imperfection? Because one of the dangerous things about, looking at your imperfection and this trance of what I say unworthiness is that it will cripple you, because you will give up. Shifu shared an example. He says, I think he said before, this was a story from Asia, from China, I think. He says there are two ox herders, and they have oxen who are pulling carts uphill, right? So, but they use two different approaches. One of the ox herder, as the ox is trying to pull the cart uphill, says, I know you're working very hard. I know you're doing a great job. Okay, I'll help to push along too. But when you get up there, you do a really great job. And as he keeps doing this, and the ox feels very confident, and he feels like, I'll try, I'll do it, I'll make it. And that oxen herder says, yes, you will make it. I know you will do it. You'll be able to make it. And they go through all that difficulty because it was a very steep uphill. And they made it. And guess what? I guess you guys would know the opposite, right? The other ox herder was whipping his ox, and he's saying, you hopeless, lazy beast, and you're not doing anything, and you're not pushing it up, you gotta work harder, you've been so lazy, you hopeless thing, you worthless thing. Guess what happens? The ox refused to move because the ox has given up. He said, no matter what I do, it's not good enough for you. So then why do I need to push myself? I'll just stand there. If I stand there, I'll be whipped. And if I move, I'll be whipped. So what do you think I'll choose to do? I'll choose to give up. So, acceptance is not saying giving up. It's not saying just being passive. But acceptance is know that you have more space for improvement. It is, again, the process. And then you go on to find the next right thing, and you go on to find the next right thing. That's the acceptance. Without, it's releasing yourself from the bricks of condemnation. You don't condemn yourself anymore. But okay, so this is where I am and how I'm going to continue. Just like I was sharing about my story of fulfilling my